Hi everyone, it's Center Right Federation here, another alt-right podcast with one of my friends, my best friends ever, Danilo.
Yeah,
Say hi. So, what do you want to talk about today?
what do I want to talk about?
Yeah.
Anything. Anything you want.
All right. Let's see. How can we start this? What can we talk about?
Yeah, it can be politics, religion, soccer, anything.
Oh yeah. What do you think of as a Catholic? What do you think about Pope Francis?
You love me to ask questions that it's very difficult to answer. Well, he's the Pope. I cannot judge the Pope, but um, well, as a Catholic, I love the Pope. I pray for him, but I don't think he's governed on church. It's good. When we're talking about the Pope, we have to make a difference between talking about the Pope and this papacy. Like I think Francis have a bad papacy, but I cannot judge him as a pope. Only God can judge him.
Yeah, exactly. Like
So
as a Catholic myself, I wouldn't judge the Pope himself like on religion, but I would say that I just disagree with his political views.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Pope is only infallible when he talks about morals and faith, and he proclaimed himself to be infallible in this speech. And but when he talks about politics, he can fail, and it happened a lot of times in popes in history have been criticized by um, saints or his contemporaries
Yeah,
about their actions. So
yeah. All right. Yeah. Do you think white genocide is real?
I think there is a genocide, an attempt of genocide on the Western society. The fact of the Western society being white, it may be accident or who cares? Anyway, but yeah, I think there is an attempt to destroy the Western society, and like I don't think they are to decide for their color as well. I don't think um, slaves were black because their skin, but for circumstances, for
Yeah.
example, the liberals, the left, um, the high scale liberals want to destroy the white race because they want to destroy the Western society, and that's the best way because when you associate Europe, Christianism, and white race are three things that are together, and destroying one, you destroy. It's easier to destroy uh, the all of them. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Like, cause. I've kind of talked about this before. It's because many times these leftists are are like very anti-Western and so fundamentally anti-white. You have them promoting
Yeah,
multiculturalism and mass immigration onto white nations,
yeah.
and many times like this multiculturalism experiments always fail because
No,
one group values is not the same as the others.
yeah, no. Let me ask you: have you ever seen anyone talking about multiculturalism on Africa or on um,
Or
Saudi
in the Middle East.
Arabia? On Middle East, on Saudi Arabia,
Nope.
or
They always talk about
yeah,
multiculturalism in Europe, Australia, and the United States, and all white nations mostly.
yeah. Even in India or countries like Japan, you don't see yet they talking about multiculturalism. You see they talking about it in Europe, in United States, here in Brazil, and New Zealand, and anyway. But you don't see they talking about this in countries where they don't have white people. Like in Zimbabwe, you have Robert Mugabe killing white people and expelling white people from his country, from Zimbabwe. And have you ever seen United Nations talking anything about it?
No, and
No,
the thing is, I
they
debated with
didn't.
leftists about Rhodesia, and lots of times
Yeah.
they all say that the white people do deserve to be kicked out of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. In Zimbabwe, they were just kicked out. They're just treated like garbage and killed and spanked, and they were forced to leave. Even the president Mugabe has said publicly, white people should leave. I only faced the silence of United Nations and all their organs, and it's not and a single example. You can see like in South Africa. In South Africa, it's more um, smooth. Of course, there's no government public persecution on white people, but um, it has a lot of crime on white people. It would be nice if we have some South African to come from for his for this chat someday
Yeah,
because
I'm not sure if you're familiar with some YouTuber. He's a capitalist. His name is Stefan Molyneux.
mm,
He was interviewing a white guy in South Africa. He says that being white in South Africa sucks because like he's constantly like he's constantly under in danger due to all the anti-white hate crimes, and he's constantly being
yeah,
discriminated against because they have affirmative action over there as well in South Africa.
yeah. I think it would be nice to interview some uh, white guy living in Africa, especially South Africa, because in other countries you didn't have the conflict you had in South Africa.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the left wing always say we don't need to have retaliations on past crimes or something, but uh, when it comes from to racial thing against black people, like you have the apartheid regime. Uh, in this case, you can retaliate and speaking against white people and discriminating them double standards.
Yeah, exactly. And like like every time when a black cop shoots a white kid, it's here in the United States as well. Like a black cop shoots a white kid, like nobody like reacts to it. One white cop shoots a black kid in self defense, and everyone
Yeah,
starts overreacting.
yeah, yeah. It's like when we have the Ferguson case in United States. Uh, it happens. It's similar about what it happens in Brazil too. Like, um, but of course it wasn't that scandal. I think there it's more polarized. Because here we have more mixed people, so it's not that polarized. But the intellectuals, the left wing on universities, my colleagues, uh, they when about how police is violent, but it, even I live in a
Yeah,
country when we have uh, about 70, 70,000 people murdered each year.
damn.
It's a lot. And they talk that our policy is violent and kill criminals, but the criminals are killing innocent people. So, you can imagine how I feel um, revolted, like how I feel angry about this. Because in my university, people are always rich and they on their closet houses it's violent. They kill only poor black criminals, and yeah, and like um, like if the policy in the penal code was too strong, but they are not affected by it. Like I know poor people that have worked for an entire year to buy a car and was robbed and could do nothing. You know,
Yeah,
uh, uh, are these people suffer? These poor people, not my colleagues on university. You
yeah,
know, these are hypocrites. But anyway, it actually we live in the in number not proportionally, but in number of murderers, we have uh, highest number of murderings per year, Brazil. So, it,
Which group of people commit the highest crime over there in Brazil?
what?
What group of people commit the highest crime over there in Brazil?
I mean, by race or anything?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's mixed people, brown people, but uh, it, it's like there are a large number of them, so we can just say, well, it's mixed, so it's criminal, But uh, no doubt is the largest group among the criminals, no doubt,
yeah,
because we don't have a large amount of black people. Also, like 7% of Brazilian population is actually black. Um, about and half, a little less of 50% is white, 7% is black, the other remain is it's brown, like mixed black and white, and a little part. about 1%, it's yellow.
Yeah. You know how earlier we were talking about the police brutality and stuff like that? What do you think of police brutality?
Police what?
Police brutality.
Brutality?
Yeah.
Well, I think when you live in a country like Brazil that is so violent, if I say something like that to an European, uh, the guy would be like terrified by, wow, he thinks policy should spank people, but that's our reality. We don't have prisons to good prisons uh, to arrest and jail everyone who should be in the jail. We don't we don't have a good justice. Like the justice just is so slow and so unjust. That is true. They release anyone because the prisons are too full of people.
Yeah, I'm also against police brutality to like an extent, but I live like in the murder capital of the United States here in Chicago, and the thing is, like, I feel like there are times where the police does have to be way too brutal. Like they should start kicking people's asses more. Like they should start
Yeah,
beating people up more and be a little bit more tougher on people who initiate violence and stuff. But the thing is, they tend to be brutal on people who don't commit crimes at all. But I believe police brutality should also be done on left wing extremists, on gangs, and all these other people, and all other criminals.
yeah. I've been looking at the modern list on Euro on the world in last years. It's about Germany has uh, less than 500 murderings per year. So
Yeah.
for them, I can understand if it was German, like if someone in Brazil, it's not. It's like he do it and he's a bad people. He's a bad guy, and you should prevent him uh, from the contact to the society. You know, it's
Yeah.
necessary. It's an endemic problem. We should um, uh, make a have a solution, but it's difficult. It's not like the policy. You asked me about police brutality. It's just the effect. It's like uh, um, combating the effect. Like when you take a medicine to headache or something, but you don't combat the virus inside you. So uh, we should also face the cause of the problem, not only the effect, but it doesn't face the effects, you know. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was clear, but like people say, well, it's a problem of creation of the guy, but okay, if even if it's right, you, you can't let him to kill other people just because they had a bad creation. You have
Exactly.
to you have to face that, and also you have to face the cause. You have to find the cause and fight it.
Yeah.
You can just ignore the effects.
Exactly. Oh yeah. What do you do you think white privilege is also bullshit?
White privilege. Yeah,
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 it's like how are white people privileged? Like in what sense?
yeah. Even you're a big set guy in the United States. You can answer this better than me. Are you so um, judged or um, discriminated? How can I say? Treated like with prejudice in the United States?
Oh, discriminated?
Yeah, discriminated. Are you?
Nope, never.
So you're darker than me, so
Yeah,
uh, I think this question is answered.
yeah. It's like the thing is, people tend to think racism is power plus privilege, but racism is not like what most leftists like to say it is. Racism is just a concept made by people. Anyone can be racist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like the thing is, one argument that they like to use to say that white privilege is real is where they say that more white people have graduated. But see, the
yeah,
problem with that is that it's because whites are of course the majority here in the United States. It's like saying that because more Chinese people graduate in China, that automatically means there's Chinese privilege.
yeah, exactly. And uh, actually higher in Brazil, at least higher white people standards numbers in university than black people. But on the first moment, it's cultural, and it's historical. Like the, they say, uh, it has been like a story of discrimination, but actually the white people's standard on economics have grown a lot of whole century, you know, and you can just make a law and say now they are equal and have the same opportunities, and the university has to be the same number of white and black people. You can just do that. It's natural. It happens, you know. There are choices like, and yeah, that's what I think. If you see in Brazil, the black people standards of living have just increasing of whole since the slavery has been abolition, and has increasing, but they're not satisfied because actually the left doesn't care about white black people. They they simply don't care. They care about the politics advantage they could take on it. You know, that's why they care.
Oh, one of my friends wants to know if you guys have heard anything about Nicaragua.
Yeah, Daniel Ortega.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never. But I know about Ortega, and I know he is socialist and ally of our government. By
yeah,
the way, but yeah, what would you say about him?
yeah. He's a stupid socialist. Oh yeah. By the way, one of the best things that happened in Nicaragua was when the Contras beat the hell out of the Sandinistas, the communists.
Yeah,
have you ever heard of the Contras rearming?
Of what?
Have you know the Contras, the anti-communist group in Nicaragua? Did you hear that they are rearming?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they want to fight. They want to fight against Ortega.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, like I think Nicaragua also needs a Pinochet moment.
Yeah, have freed themselves from the communists. It's Argentina and Paraguay. Like Paraguay had Lugo, he was a commie allied of our government, and he suffered like an impeachment process, and he was kicked from the government, and now it's a right-wing government, and they're doing a great job in Paraguay. They won even with the manipulations to Christina Kirchner allies won the elections, even
Yeah,
though Macri, that is more right wing, won. And I hope Brazil is the next one. I really hope.
yeah,
Chile has just fought from again to Michelle Bachelet, that is very left wing. Venezuela, I don't even need to say. Bolivia, it's
oh yeah.
like
There has to be an uprising in Venezuela due to all the food shortages and the toilet paper shortages.
yeah, it has been uh, since 3 years ago to now. They
Yeah,
don't have even toilet papers, and people still use or anything.
yeah,
Well, you know better than me. Your parents came from Cuba, so
yeah. My dad comes from Cuba and my mom comes from Costa Rica.
yeah. Costa Rica is still more, it's still good. If you see, it's like the best country on Central America, but Cuba is just terrible.
Yeah. When my dad was in Cuba, they discriminated against him for being Christian.
Yeah, I have a friend that told me till uh, 5 years ago, to enter in a university on Cuba, you had to be atheist, and to prevent people's lying to enter university, they put it. They usually to put and like tear the photo of Jesus Christ or spit on him to prove you're an atheist and enter university.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey,
Greetings and
Gator.
salutations, gentlemen.
Hey
Hey,
man.
How do you do, Danilo?
good.
Yeah,
You?
I'm good.
Oh, I'm excellent. I'm always good. Don't let me interrupt, though. Pray continue.
Hey, Kater,
Yes?
where are you from?
Where do you think I'm from? I always like to ask people because they never get it right. I don't know why.
I
Well,
can't tell if
you,
you're
you,
British or if
you,
you're
you
American.
and then I guess you keep talking, and then I guess I like to guess accents.
Yeah, me too. That's
I'm
why I
not
like to ask.
I'm not always good because English is not my first language, so I'm
I
not
never
very
would have
good
guessed that.
what?
I'm just joshing. I'm from well actually you have to guess. You haven't guessed yet.
You should be English.
Really? Okay. Well, what do you think, Sensei?
I would assume you're either
Yeah.
from Britain or you're somewhere in the west coast of the U.S. Since you said that you wrote a paper for the West Coast reactionaries.
I did, yeah. Oh, well, I'm actually a columnist
Say,
a columnist. I have trouble saying that word for some reason. Columnist, writer, anyways, a regular writer there. But yeah, you're actually right on the last part. I'm from America, not from the West Coast though.
Ah,
yeah, it should be Van, so from, well, anyway,
yeah, you
I
could
don't
pass
know.
as British.
No,
Everybody
yeah,
thinks everybody
it
thinks I'm from
doesn't
Britain. I don't know why.
because you talk because you talk slowly.
Oh, I do. Uh, I had one guy tell me I talk like William Shatner.
You
What
talk.
the fuck are you on?
I don't know if you have watched an anime, but you talk like those characters that are hidden and have a suspicious voice, like L on that note.
You sound suspicious, is what you're saying.
Or
Interesting.
like you kind of sound like a villain.
I'm
no,
trying to think of a way I could take that as a compliment.
No, it is
that note,
actually a compliment though.
Oh, thank you then.
that note.
Yeah, I have. I've actually seen that. I read that when I was very young, but I'm not very familiar with anime. Um,
You look like Sale. It's a character. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
And what do you guys think Europe should do about the refugee crisis?
the refugee crisis. Yeah. See, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but sometimes I feel that I mean, like, I shouldn't even say anything about it because it's sort of like it's not my domain. Like since I'm not from Europe, I feel like I shouldn't really be telling the Europeans what they should be doing. But obviously, they need to stop mass immigration at once, at all costs. But still, I feel rather tentative, hesitant to say anything about it. What about you two?
Danilo, do you want to go first or should I go first?
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should start like kicking a lot of these refugees out because see, many of them are mostly men, and these mostly men
Around
come
the age of 20 to 30, correct?
Yep, exactly. They think that these Westerners, these white European Westerners, have fucked their country. So now what they're gonna start doing is, of course, since ISIS also planned to infiltrate Europe through the new wave of refugees, they decided to like start blowing stuff up, killing people, and then it has also led to the high amount of rape. So I think they should be kicked out, especially when you're a Western country. I think you should if you're holding up the principles of liberty and freedom, and you're allowing people who are opposed to those values to enter your country, it's not going to end well.
Yeah,
No,
and,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
and no, the best way to solve the refugee problems is to end fastly the war on ISIS. Like the NATO countries should just put more force and try to resolve as fast as possible the crisis with ISIS and um, stopping making destabilization on Middle East, like on Bashar al-Assad, but this is another problem.
Oh, the Lion of
Uh,
Syria.
yeah,
That's the coolest fucking political title I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have this terrible habit of interrupting you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I can say I think I had just finished this.
Yeah. I also think that Europe should also secede from the EU, the European Union.
Yeah,
um,
there.
yeah, that's something that I kind of I have, from the cursory knowledge I have about it. That's my feeling too, but um I don't know the intricacies of like how that affects their trade and exactly the extent to which the EU exerts influence over the UK, so or England more specifically. So I don't really have any strong opinions on that. It's another one of those things where I just feel like it's not really
Hey,
West.
I also heard what, wait, did I interrupt you?
Yes, you did. How dare you? Hey, it's your show. Interrupt me if you want.
No, I just saw something on Facebook where I heard that many of ISIS members are sad if like the UK secedes from the EU because that way they can't infiltrate the UK.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't even considered that. That's a very interesting point. Um, but what I was just gonna say was that that's the Brexit is another thing where I just feel like Americans really shouldn't be butting their nose into it. That's a decision that England needs to make for itself.
Yeah, I just wish England could make the right choice because I believe in like defending the West. I love the West.
Oh yeah, I do too, of course. But it's just you can't.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the George Bush mentality. Is you want to be a superhero and you're going to travel all over the world and right all the wrongs yourself, and that never tends to end well.
Yeah, it always ends up being worse.
Yeah, I don't think Bush did very bad thing in the Middle East. Like he, okay, he kicked out
You're
Saudi
freezing up,
Arabia.
Danilo.
The problems were getting out the troops on Iraq. Like it's like if you will invade a country and you will destabilize the region, and then it will be on your own problem. You will cause a problem to you, and you have to solve it. You have to keep this country on the order on this country, on Iraq in the case. And the problem is when they just took out the the troops out of Iraq and let the ISIS dominate and everything.
Yeah, and that was the
That was the
mistake.
problem. Yeah.
My opinion
The,
was that.
the,
Let me
the
bring
problem,
Alan in here.
like, uh, wrong or right, invade, and each choice you do, you have to face the consequences. And they choose to invade Iraq, so they had to face the consequence. And the problem is, after Obama's policies on Middle East, he just took out the troops on them out of Iraq. So
And
that's
that's what
what
led
happened.
and that's what led to the power vacuum we all witnessed ISIS.
Yeah, the next point I was going to bring up I thought would actually be somewhat contentious, but it appears that you both would, from what you said, agree with me that I think if you're a government and you go in and you destabilize a region like that, and then you just pull out, a terrible mistake. You go in and you stay there and you stabilize the region and you properly conquer, or you just withdraw, as quickly and efficiently as possible. And there's always like whenever this is talked about in the media, they always have like this muddy gray area where you can do both, where you can stabilize and sort of culturally enrich, in air quotes, the region, but without really hurting anybody, and by just spreading hugs, and they have this very detached armchair philosophy kind of way of looking at it.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Alan.
Hi,
Greetings, Mr.
hello.
Genesis again.
Yes, it's me again.
Yes, they said I sound like a television villain. Is that how I strike you?
Sort of, you have that nonchalant sort of I'm badass sort of feeling to you.
The reason why I would say it's a compliment is because most like movie villains tend to sound intelligent.
Yeah.
Oh. Pardon me. That is the strangest compliment I think I've ever got. No, actually, I had this one girl. She wanted to date me. It was a couple years ago now, and her line to sort of get my affection was, "You have such beautiful eyes. They remind me of a rattlesnake's."
Interesting.
I remind you of a snake? Damn, that's a turn, man. Strange woman, but.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why don't we ask Alan about what we were talking about this is your show, Center. Why don't you ask him?
Oh, about the refugee thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Alan, what do you think Europe should do about the refugees?
Well, I think that I'm not really of the position that they should not be allowed at all. I do think they should be allowed, but certainly not in the amounts that it currently is. So.
And what's your feeling on deportation? Because Center's very strong on deportation, and I'm just curious where you stand on that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, not to do it to everyone. I guess that it's better to deport those who have sort of come more recently, not to deport those who have been here for longer, because they would have been more used to living in this particular, in country, so it'd be more of an effect on them. So yeah.
So you're saying it would have.
What if they chant "Death to Europe" and try to blow stuff up?
Well, then they can go fuck themselves and kick them out.
I like how you just always diametrically go to the most extreme example possible. You're not wrong, of course, but I don't know. I think sometimes that can be when those kind of examples are given. I think it can scare people off, and then you'll get accused of fear mongering.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, which is obviously not something that I'm accusing you of doing. I just think it's like when you hear somebody in the news, like, I don't know, Bill O'Reilly or somebody like that, and they're talking about Muslim extremists, and they'll even be really specific and non-generalizing, and they'll just say, Islamic extremists or Daesh members, right? They'll still be called a hate monger. So I guess really it's a lose-lose either way.
What do you guys think of Pinochet?
What do I think of Pinochet? You just love your Pinochet, don't you, Mr. Center?
Yup, I love giving communists free helicopter rides.
Well, I mean, he was certainly better than who was it that came before him?
Allende.
Allende. I see, filthy American pig dog can't pronounce foreign names. Yeah, well, I mean, he's certainly better than that character, and he turned the economy around quite impressively, but it still wasn't great. But I mean, it's sort of like the whole expectation that was placed on Obama, where he was supposed to be this, which is partly his fault for talking so much shit, but where he was supposed to be this sort of savior figure when he came into power. And obviously, after the mess that Bush had created, that wasn't going to happen. It was going to take, several presidencies to get the country going in the proper direction again. I feel that's pretty much, it's actually very comparable, the Bush-Obama thing, to, I think, Allende and Pinochet.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like I think it was disgusting what Pinochet did, like, with all the rapes and stuff. If I was him and let's say I was going to suppress the left, I would just stick to the helicopter rides and the shootings, but not, like, the sexual torture or anything like that. That was just sick. But we also had to remember, you could call me a brutal person, a monster, but you had to understand none of that would have happened if they didn't elect some weird four-eyed freak to nationalize every single thing, seize people's private property, and then expect there not to be any resistance. Sometimes you have to crack a few commie skulls in order to make an omelet.
Well, I mean, yeah, in times of great distress, there's a lot of historical revisionism, which is kind of inevitable. Like there's that old adage that the victors always write history. Certainly true. But I'm not terribly I'm not terribly well educated on the crimes or not crimes that were said to have been perpetuated by Pinochet's regime, his junta. So I can't really comment on that. I don't know if Alan has any insights in that regard.
Well, just a few things. Like, he wasn't. I guess he was a defender of capitalism and private property, but he wasn't even particularly libertarian. Like, there was still a very heavy progressive tax system that remained in place, and something about there still being nationalized industry and, of course, centralized government control of money and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a libertarian.
Yeah, for like a while, he had some like control over the industries, but right after like the failures of nationalization, he had to privatize it.
Alan doesn't sound convinced.
You know.
What's that?
Well, I do agree that nationalization is like, it doesn't, obviously it doesn't, it's not good at all, and it's better to privatize things. So I mean, I don't know everything about nationalization. So
You're an ANCAP, right?
Yeah, I am.
You're very strong in the free market, then.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd
Hold on, guys. I'll be back. All right. You guys keep talking.
Oh, all right. Everybody's leaving.
Yeah. So, anything you want to ask, or?
Yeah. I'm curious how you got into these political circles.
Well,
I'm always interested to hear people's stories about that.
Well, it was interesting. I first developed an interest in sort of capitalism or communism, and sort of like I first became interested in competing economic and sort of political theories in my history class in college, or well, you guys call it high school. What you call high school, we call college.
We can't get our terminology right.
Yeah, I know it's confusing, but we in New Zealand use more British English and use American English. Basically in high school, where I learned more about as part of our history class, we looked at the Cold War and we discussed the merits of capitalism and communism. And I think that he got a lot of stuff wrong. Like, he said that communism he said that it's a system in which a state owns everything, which it isn't. That's only, well, it's supposed to be a transitional period, but that's never happened. So, but he did say that sort of communism is a system in which a state controls everything, and that's not true. At least not original Marxist idea of communiism. So,
all right, I'm
back.
The gang's all here. I had just to fill you both, and I just asked Alan what his how he got into these political circles and how he got into this discussion, and he was just going through that story.
All right.
Well, yeah, and then after sort of thinking more about that my high school stuff, then I sort of got into the first sort of capitalist guy I started watching was Scotty M. And his videos I think are pretty good. Yeah.
Dude, he's a friend of mine. I was inviting him to the stream, but he doesn't like really read messages on Facebook.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I started watching sort of. Well, that's why I sort of became more of a libertarian-ish type. But then I sort of discovered and then that's when I got interested in really thinking about communism. And then I got into, of course, I didn't accept it, but I started to think about it more. And then through Reddit, I discovered the ANCAP subreddit. And then I started reading all of this stuff, and I was like, oh my god, this all makes so much sense. But then I kind of thought, well, isn't a state needed for things like national defense? And I heard that that's not the case. And yeah, and then I became an ANCAP after that. So basically, since discovering the ANCAP subreddit, reading stuff on there, I was a really super small state minarchist.
Okay.
2 days.
So kind of like Murray Rothbard. Hello?
Yeah.
I think that Rothbard, he was a good economist, but he wasn't the best philosopher. I think the better ANCAP philosophers like Michael Hume or maybe Armstrong and Hoppe, I think really neat guys. So yeah.
Oh, you're far more well read on this than I am then.
Well, I spend a lot of time on the internet, so yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like what I was talking with what was his name? Love, Life, and Anarchy. Last
Oh
time
yeah.
we did the hangout about how the arguments you tend to hear from libertarians is pretty much the same. There's kind of there's a it seems particularly prevalent with libertarians in America, where there's just this hyper-concentrated ideological homogeneousness, where they all always give you the exact same answers. It always comes back to the non-aggression principle and blah 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 blah. So that just sort of had me disinterested in libertarian philosophy for the most part.
Well, I do think that sort of people talk too much about the non-aggression principle instead of thinking about why we have that sort of idea of how to construct a society. And often people say, "Oh, the NAP," instead of thinking about why we have the NAP in the first place.
Yeah, well, I've never really thought that the non-aggression principle, when followed dogmatically, it doesn't make any sense. Like in most libertarian circles, the way they define it is that anything which can or is doing harm to you. So, like, if I smoke around you, it's constantly, right? That's technically aggressing against you. But like, what are you gonna arrest him? No, that's stupid. So, like, you can't hold to it dogmatically. And my two main problems with libertarians is that, one, they hold dogmatically to that, and two, they never have like I said, the Love, Life, and Anarchy, that they never have a plan for defending these communal states, unless you are a minarchist, which is quite different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we've rather gotten completely off topic. Senator, why don't you? Actually, yeah. I wanted to ask you, what are your opinions of Murray Rothbard?
Me?
No, just everybody. I think he was an interesting character.
Murray Rothbard, I haven't really seen his work, but from what I could tell, it seems like it seems like he's on our side. So it seems like he's a good economist.
Yeah. What interested me about him was that he used to be really close with Ayn Rand, and they had a big falling out because he was he became a bit of an anarchist, later on, and she couldn't stand anarchism. She thought it was degenerate and evil and horrible, and a big falling out about it. But right before that happened, he had said that it was right when she wrote what the hell's the book called? Atlas Shrugged, and he said it was the best book ever written. And then right after that, he goes around and lampoons her and does a sketch article where he wrote a play where there's a fake book called the Brow of Zeus, and a writer named Sands, and that was supposed to be her, and she's all domineering and crazy. Naturally, Rand was pissed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you guys think of Ayn Rand?
Yeah.
I have a lot of opinions about her. I mean, she's an excellent writer. That's the first thing I'll say, since I'm a writer. I really respect her craft and her dedication to it. Fountainhead's a much better book than Atlas Shrugged, just for anybody who's... Nobody ever agrees with me on that, but it's so much better. A lot of her ideas were just kind of crazy, like this idea that capitalism is inherently virtuous, and that money should be elevated as or used as a normative for human virtue. I think that's frankly a stupid idea. A kind of, well, not even stupid. It's just insane. I don't know how she got to that position, but I think it's ridiculous. Her opinions on art, though, are fantastic.
Oh, by the way, since a lot of us here, from what I could tell, we all support the free market. What got all of you guys to start supporting it?
Should I go then?
You can go.
Oh, all right. Well, I never really started supporting it. It was just something that had always, everything that I learned that had anything to do with it always showed that it worked very well and much better than communism, which or like extreme socialism, which were really the only two alternatives. I mean, they're pretty much the same when taken to extremes. So it was just sort of like a common knowledge thing I didn't really have any epiphany about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a terribly boring answer.
No, that's fine. What about Danilo, Mr. Brazilian guy?
Sorry.
Now you make me feel like a dick for saying that.
What's your question?
Like, what got you to support the free market?
Yeah, I just I'm not an economist, but I just think it works more than statist economy.
Yeah.
Uh, I see by my country, like when you have a big state on economy, it doesn't work, and I just can make comparisons to other countries,
So
and
it's just the historical
I'm not.
evidence.
Yeah, I'm not libertarian. I'm not an economist. So um, what can I do is just making comparisons to other countries' systems. It's all I can do. It's some things are just logic, like when you raise taxes on rich people and on enterprises and anything, the rich people will flee from the country to other countries. It's just logical. You can't solve a crisis raising taxes like they're trying to do in Brazil. So some things are just logic, and some other things I just hadn't studied, so I can um, give an opinion about what I didn't study.
I
So I
don't think
just
I've ever
follow.
heard people say I can't give an opinion on that as many times as I have talking to you fellas. I think that's a good thing though.
Uh, yeah, actually, I think it's there are too many people giving opinions on what they can talk about, like never studied, you know. And actually, I give an opinion, but it's based on historical arguments, not on uh, technical arguments, because I'm not an economist. So yeah, I give to the people who studied more than me about this subject.
Yeah, that actually goes back to what I was saying the last time we spoke about the problem with egalitarianism is that it erases these kind of impulses to um, cede authority over to somebody who knows more than you so that you can learn more.
Yeah,
So that it's because when you say cede authority, it sounds so totalitarian and so scary to people. And it shouldn't because that's how you learn. The best system for education is a tutoring program. Is where you have an apprentice and you have the master, and the master teaches the apprentice the tricks of the trade on a personal level. It's much more effective. So I think it was over to you, Alan.
Oh, was it?
After
Okay, so
this
what was the question?
extraordinarily awkward dead
Oh,
silence.
sorry. I keep doing other things.
Yeah,
Keep
sorry
doing
guys,
so what?
I'm back now.
Oh,
I wondered what happened to you.
yeah, our moderator disappeared. So what was the question again? Or the
Well, I mean, you kind of explained it at the beginning. It was how you got into the free market.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it was I mentioned this before, but I don't seem to have heard it. It was through Scott M's videos, and his videos are presented in a very easy to understand way. So yeah, that was how I sort of got interested in economics.
I'm not familiar with this Scott Ians. Who's that?
Scotty M is a Scottish dude. He's from Scotland and he makes a lot of. He's a classical liberal. He makes a lot of videos defending the free market.
Okay. I'll look into him.
He was supposed to come, but he hardly reads messages, though. Unfortunately.
Is he a pretty big channel?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what always happens. Then he's no longer got time for the little guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's understandable because even if you try to read your messages, if you've got that's an interesting picture change. But if you've got 15,000 subscribers, you can't realistically be expected to read all of them in a timely fashion.
Well, and I think that also sort of the style of his videos, it's got very clean editing. They're done very professionally. He's got graphic design work, so it's not really likely that you're going to sort of Sorry, who was that? You just completely confused me there. Oh my god.
Took you a while to notice, didn't it?
I just started seeing that, and it's like I tried to keep talking, but I just couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, you can't be serious, talk seriously when you have a guy with that mask.
Oh, I'll have to get my masquerade mask and wear it here just to look, just to show you up. I got a one-up center.
Yeah. Well, Scotty, and just the style of his videos, I think that with this sort of very dirty, off-the-cuff sort of chat thing, he's not really down with that, maybe. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's.
He's been in some of my live streams.
Okay.
What was that, Center?
Oh no, I was just saying that Scotty has been in some of my live streams. If you go on my video called Discussing Ideology, he's in there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think actually probably my favorite way of communicating is through live chat. You can actually have a mode of discussion with somebody, face to face, as it were, or mask to mask, in your case. Yeah, but I don't like email. I don't like talking on the phone. I just like talking to people, and it seems like everybody I talk to hates Google Hangouts, even those that do it consistently. Like they're always looking for some other thing that they can do, some other platform, and I don't really know why. I guess because it's kind of buggy, but
yeah.
We must spill the blood of the white devil. The time has come to roll the border of Europe. And
we're drinking before live chats.
With them for all.
Where'd she get that thing from? You just collect masks?
All right. Let's get this started again.
It's a good idea.
So, what else do you guys want to talk about?
Well, hey, that's the thing that the host should never ask. You should never ask what we want to talk about. It's all about you, man.
Yeah.
You're the leader here. You got to take charge. Terrible job taking charge, Center.
Yeah.
You ask questions.
In regards to your question, I'm really curious what your opinions about art are. That is my primary interest, since it's my livelihood and like my.
It depends what kind of art you're talking about. Like.
Well, I have a very specific definition of art, and that's something that I'm working on very vigorously. Is that redefining art, because postmodernism has shredded all meaning from it. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It just means something that you do.
Yeah, modern art sucks nowadays.
It really does. Which if you say that, you sound like a crusty old bastard. Like these kids these days and their pinball machines and Pac-Man video games and parachute pants. But it's kind of true. You've got Yoko Ono. She did a art installation piece, which was her coming in fully dressed in ridiculous clothing and handing out scissors to the audience, and then they cut the clothes off of her until she was nude, and then she walked out of the room, and that was art.
Wow.
Why don't you tell me what that means?
I don't know what to say, but I do believe that most art that you see in Western societies, like the ones that were inspired by Christianity, should be protected.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them, but I mean, like a lot of Da Vinci stuff was, especially his sketches. That didn't have anything to do with religion. It was all just, inventions.
Yeah.
biological observations and so forth. But certainly, like Bernini, the Pied d'État, yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that kind of art deserves to be protected. Like nowadays, most postmodern art would just be like kind of like you said, it's just what you do, but it's also let's just say if I were to grab a painting and that painting was just a circle, and that's it.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
my. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danilo.
No, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say that, yeah, my primary problem with it is that art no longer has any purpose. It's just the concept is good enough. You don't have to have any skill, any dedication. You don't have to have a vision anymore. And that was always what was crucial and what made the old masters, well, masters, was that they always had a vision and they had a goal. And both of those things have completely gone out of modern art, and that's, really depressing to me since it's my field.
Yeah.
I think it's linked to morals and everything, but it's like the aesthetic standard of
You're in that fucking mask.
aesthetic standard has just changed, like in a bad way. It's a reflect actually of the degenerate down. How can I say? A decrease in society.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. The aesthetic standard has been decreasing to the point
because-
where I would say that there really isn't an aesthetic standard anymore. Right? It's just
Because,
whatever you want.
yeah, because what you think it's pretty, it's beautiful. It's like a reflect of your soul or something, or of your culture. And when you think some garbage, you call garbage like art, and you think it's beautiful. It's the problem is in you because it's your aesthetic standards that are really. I'm not sure if I could express myself very
Unformed.
good.
Sort of unformed or unrealized or perhaps ignored. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, yeah. What I'm saying is that when you recognize something as beautiful or ugly or something, it's like a reflect of your soul. The aesthetic standards are a reflect of your souls and your culture. And when you just think of garbage, trash is as valuable as like Mona Lisa or something. The problem is in you. The problem is in your culture, your soul of not recognize the true things,
I think that's an excellent point. If it wouldn't be obnoxious, I'd be clapping for you. Actually, that's it.
I feel like this is also cultural Marxism. See,
Yeah, of course.
they try to destroy culture and stuff, so they try to like eliminate all the stuff from the Western society, such as like the art.
Yeah.
Art always plays a big role into that.
I've read a very interesting article about this subject, but I think it was in Portuguese. I don't know if it has a translation, but I searched.
What's your opinion, Mr. Genesis?
You mean on art? Oh yeah. Well, I think my favorite kind of art is that of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. I think there's some good modern art, but a lot of it I don't like and it's just boring. I mean, I guess you can spend some time, debating what is art and thinking all philosophical stuff, but you know, I do find a lot of modern art boring. And my favorite and one some of my favorite bits of art are the were all of the Madonna and Childs. You know, those that depict Mary and baby Jesus. I
Hmm.
find those, I quite like those. I think those are quite neat, and it's interesting how Jesus or baby Jesus, well, it's not really a baby; it's like a small adult human, because that was sort of how they thought that Jesus was born as.
So you're
Yeah.
talking about like guys like Titian and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what artists mean. I'm only just getting into it, but
Uh,
yeah, I guess so.
yeah, I'd certainly agree.
Hey, do you guys believe that cultural Marxism is real?
Everything's about the commies with you, isn't it? Those damn pinko bastards.
That's the whole point of these podcasts as well.
No, I think that's important. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of well, so you're talking about the influence of cultural Marxism on art?
Well, I mean, on everything, just in general, like in
Oh,
the
and
entire
everything.
West.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that observation. I think that's pretty much correct. Like that, it was a natural progression from Enlightenment egalitarianism, in my view. And that's where I feel that it springs from.
Yeah.
What about
Okay.
you, Sinton? Like, where do you think this comes from? It's
Like,
cultural
where does this
Marxism.
come from? I just think that it's the progressive movement and stuff. It all also comes from, because I've read a lot of like the books from, like I haven't read the books itself, but I've heard about it. If you were to see like what Antonio Gramsci wrote, the Italian Marxist, and like what people from the Frankfurt School said, it's the same as what we're witnessing here, like here in the U.S. or in the entire West.
The Frankfurt School. Yeah, it's often that's an interesting topic because the circles that tend to expound about the Frankfurt School do actually tend to be anti-Semitic, like properly anti-Semitic. They're not just the guys that say like, "Hey, there's a lot of Jews in the media and stuff." They're just like, everything that's wrong, it's the Jews.
Yeah, they always
Yeah.
they'll blame the Jews if it rains outside.
Which is it's so frustrating. It's just like it's the quickest way to kill a conversation. Any kind of stuff like that. It's the same thing in reverse. When you're talking to like a right-wing German, and you're like, "Oh, you're just as bad as the Nazis." Like, "Oh, come on, you're guilt tripping the poor guy."
Yeah.
He has enough
Actually,
cultural baggage, I think.
it's actually a very, a very comfortable to have someone to cute, you know, to uh, uh, fuck, I have no words to say. Uh, to put your anger in, and a specific group, and so it's just easier to call the Jews
Oh yeah, it's
instead
scapegoating.
of.
Unconscious, I think, most of the time. But yeah,
Yeah, of
certainly.
course, because it's true that uh, biggest part of these globalists are Jews, and, but an imprudent conclusion to say that all Jews are like that or something. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm also against
Is
anti-Semitism.
it?
I like how he ended that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
it's like
But it is true.
You made a good point, and then you're just like, I take it back.
but there are a large number of Jews like within like our banking system. But one of the main
yeah,
reasons for that is because like since back in the day, many Christians and Muslims were like forbidden from like charging interest in loans and stuff. So all the financial stuff was left to the Jews, therefore leaving them with more experience in banking.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and that all of the IQ bell curve tests that have come out seem to point towards the trend that Jews, that is Ashkenazis, tend to have higher average intelligence than most Caucasians. Jews and Asians, actually, East Asians, that
Don't tell Hitler that.
is.
Hey guys, tone it down a bit because Benjamin Netanyahu is watching this right now and he's getting triggered.
Ah.
Oh dear.
They're gonna shut it. They're gonna shut it down soon.
Yeah, you guys might want to tone it down a bit because there's a bit we might get shut down because we think we know too much.
Well, if we were on Facebook, that might happen. Have you heard about Zuckerberg and Merkel working together to censor Facebook comments?
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like straight up totalitarian surveillance.
Yeah, that is totalitarianism.
People always used to ask me why I didn't have a Facebook, and I said because Mark Zuckerberg is an evil asshole, and they'd always laugh, but then they'd say, "Oh, that's ridiculous." No, it isn't. No,
The thing I laugh about is that Mark Zuckerberg like censors anybody who criticizes like the Islamists, like the extremists, like ISIS and them. But
Yeah.
the thing is, he gets death threats from ISIS almost every single day.
Right. Because he's a Jew, you know? And they hate Jews. You figure he'd be against them. It's ridiculous that he's not.
And the fact that he's uniting with the cuck Merkel says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Merkel is strange to me because she seems like she, you know, a lot of people would say that she's evil and so forth. And I don't think she's evil. She seems actually to be like a very kindly person. But she's kind of like a Jeb Bush type where she always looks perpetually depressed wherever she goes. You know, she's always got this slumped shoulder expression. She always looks like she's just on the verge of collapse. And I don't know where that comes from, but it's just like you could see the disintegration of a person going on before your eyes, and it's very distressing. Like I keep thinking, Jeb Bush, fuck, he's gonna kill himself, you know, like especially after losing, and his whole family, is riding on him winning, and then he fucking, just has to drop out.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna bring one of my friends in here.
Oh, the more the merrier, they say. So why do you like Genesis, Alan? I love music, so I'm a musician myself. So any recommendations?
I'm a big fan of progressive rock music. I mean, I do prefer
What is
the
up,
early.
people?
Hey,
Greetings, Delta USA.
Yes,
Oh, sorry,
I'm Ethan's fascist friend.
I kind of assumed from the the Italian fascist symbol underneath the eagle.
Yes, you can.
Oh yes.
Fan of Mussolini?
Yeah, Duce, mate. Deal with it.
Well, I don't have to deal with it. I mean, the one thing I always liked about Mussolini, and he doesn't get enough credit for this, aside from that fantastic quote, Trump actually just quoted him on this, and people were freaking out about it, and they're like, Mussolini said that? And he's like, yeah, so what? I thought that was hilarious.
Mussolini made a lot of good. He made a lot of good quotes.
Oh yeah, but this is probably my favorite. Was I'd rather live rather live a day as a lion than it was 100 years as a lamb or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think I heard of that one. That's.
I'm paraphrasing.
Hey, you know what you guys what we should start doing? Just make some edgy right-wing extremist saying just to make YouTube panic.
Oh god, that'd be funny.
Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer.
I don't know about that. I can't stand that when I'm in the comment section of. Oh, sorry, what was that?
I would rather be far right than far wrong.
Oh, I love that. I think Alfred B said something about that.
Yeah.
Kill a commie for mommy.
Kill a commie for mommy?
Yeah.
I will not condone the slaughter of the left, because I will participate in it.
Who said that? Was that freaking...
Sounds like something Cantwell would say.
Better dead than red.
Dead than red. I used to say better red than dead, which I was like, no, that's super edgy. I'm done with that. Better dead than red. Not like better dead than a red.
But anyways, in regards to the Italian fascist regime, the one of the greatest things that came out of that was the futurist movement, which is one of my favorite art movements. I think Marinetti is a genius. a little crazy, but I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with genius. What's your opinion on the futurist, Mr. USA?
The futurist. I think I never heard of that. I have to look at that. Futurist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Marinetti was in Mussolini's regime.
Oh, it's a futurologist, science, social science. Huh. Futurology. That's like.
To be
Hey,
honest,
Delta, do you have the Phalanges flag?
The phalange? What, like the actual from the party? No, I want to get it though. I want to get it though, like the Spanish phalange. I have the Francoist one though, the actual regime. Let me point my camera up to it.
Daniel, you wanted to speak?
yeah,
Whoa.
I was just pointing. I don't really like the futurism, like even the poems and Marinetti poems.
You don't like Marinetti?
They are.
What the?
Props to ride for you.
What a
What?
cuck! I'm kidding.
No. I'm interested now. Why? What don't you like about his poems? The one thing that gets me is his really ridiculous and bombastic chauvinism, where he's like, we must treat women with scorn. You know, like I think he was just trying to pull a Delta. He was just trying to be edgy.
I know there's probably somebody who already disliked the live stream just because.
Just because you joined, your infamy precedes you.
Well, people hate me as it is. Like when I was on the left, people still hated me.
Oh.
Ethan can tell you all about it.
Yeah, Delta used to be a communist himself, but the thing is, his views did not match the left, because he believed in, like, strict borders, he believed in the right to bear arms, and he was a pro-Zionist, too.
And like you saw a lot of American stuff everywhere, and that triggered them so much triggering.
Everyone has been communist once. Like everyone has born stupid and without teeth and anything. So
Well, being stupid doesn't mean you're born communist.
Stupid,
I don't know
yeah.
what that really means.
Yeah, there's one dislike.
But I'm more interested in your refutation of futurism, Brazilian guy.
There is some time I don't study literature, to be honest, but my impressions on the time when I studying the futurism, like all these modern movements like futurism or cubism, like from Picasso or
Dada, so forth.
yeah, they seem to be pushing too hard, but I don't know the word in English to express exactly my opinion on it.
Oh,
But
okay. That's fair
it's
enough.
like you cannot find the when you look to a poem of Shakespeare, you know,
His
you
sonnet.
cannot compare. You cannot. It's just
Well, I think I could. I mean, Shakespeare's good and all, but I think he's terribly
yeah.
I love this thing I saw. Was it Ethan sent it? It's got like the gay stuff. It's like keep calm and be proud of who you are. And it's got the fascist like with all the symbols on it. It's like thanks for the advice.
Yeah, be proud of who you are, and then it has all the fascist symbols, and it says, be proud of who you are, and then it's supposed to give the message of, yeah, proud of being a nationalist.
It's like thanks for the advice, mate.
Ah, Center. I must compliment you on your tea set. That's some nice china.
Thanks.
Nice China. China's.
Danilo.
Alrighty.
What?
Well, I mean, this question could go for everyone. What do you guys think of Franco? I know what Delta's view is.
I don't actually know anything about him, which kind of surprises me because I read history all the time, and I like to think of myself as fairly well versed in history, and I really know very little about Franco, so I don't feel comfortable, expounding my views on him. So if anybody could educate me about him, I'd be greatly appreciated.
Franco. Well, if you want to get it from my end, Franco was the you could
No
say
doubt,
from
doubt.
It was Spanish, basically the head of the Spanish state, from 1936 till his death in 1975.
Okay.
I think Franco did the same mistake than the militaries did in Brazil. It was letting the leftists dominate the cultural side. He fought against the leftists on the real, physically and on the real side, but the
He was a soldier,
universities,
wasn't he?
the writers, yeah, they just let them dominate, and the results of it is what we live in today in these countries, in Spain or in Brazil, for example.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
thoughts on any thoughts on
In general,
Franco?
I really like Franco.
What's
Yeah.
that? Oh, what's your thoughts on him, Center? You brought him up.
He did a good job handling the left. Like, I disagree with him on pretty much economic views, maybe on some issues politically, but he did a good job handling the leftists, like the anarchists, the communists. He did a good job handling them.
Why was it like Hitler even put a quote like he'd rather get his teeth, rather have all his teeth pulled than listen to him?
Oh yeah, and by the way, did you know that Franco also, like during the Holocaust, he also helped Jews in and let them in Spain?
Like, was it like Franco's trying to get him to invade Gibraltar, and he's just like, no.
Yeah, like the thing is, Franco and Hitler were only like allies in some aspects, but I think Hitler once said that he would rather get his teeth pulled out than to ever talk to Franco in his life again.
He always talked
Really?
about Spain and how great it was, and it pissed Hitler off. It's kind of funny.
Ah. That was actually a contention that Mussolini had with Mussolini and Marinetti had with Hitler, was that he was banning art, and they were both really angry about it. But then Marinetti wanted to institute futurism as the official art of the Italian fascist regime, and Mussolini's just like, what? That's too fascist for me, and I invented fascism. Get out of here, Marinetti.
That's what I'd be. I'd be thinking, oh my, wait, what? You want to bring in this? No, dude, no, like, there's too much.
Yeah, like I said, Marinetti was a great writer, but he was kind of a bad man.
Apparently, it sounds like he was off the wall even more than Mussolini. Mussolini's like, whoa, dude, you need to calm down.
Yeah, he's a very violent guy.
That's funny about was it the futurism? It's just Mussolini's like, no, like, whoa, dude, you need to calm down a bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
Hey,
That's how I would take.
Race, it is a feeling, not a reality.
What's that?
Oh, that was one of Mussolini's, like, at the end he said national pride has no need for the delirium of race, which it really doesn't, in my opinion, because I'm in the United States. Race is not a huge thing like in Europe or the rest of the world, so I don't really care about race.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting topic. I always, I don't know, like I really want to support a lot of the things that guys like Richard Spencer and what's his name, Jared Taylor say, because they're so eloquent and well spoken. They have such clear vision, and then they're always just talking about like then they go back to the Jews, and then they go back to. And them blacks are stupid.
Intensifies.
Yeah, and it's just like there's some statistical data on their side, but they extrapolate so much from it, like far more than is possible, and that really gets to me. And I don't think they know that they're doing that.
Wait, you don't worship Pinochet? What a cuck.
Yeah.
What, you don't worship Pinochet?
Not like Spencer does. I'm afraid not.
Or Christopher Cantwell or anything like that.
Well, he's funny, but
Yeah, Christopher Cantwell is funny and he's awesome.
I wouldn't say I worship him. No.
Nah.
There was a joke on the political spectrum.
His following is they're absolute buffoons.
It was like the poem balls, all the political spectrums, and like almost like one and far to the far right had Christopher Cantwell anime. It's like, you don't worship Pinochet? What a cuck. That's it. It's like just all the way like farther from this, all literally Hitler, and then it's freaking great. Then anarcho-communists in their post-scarcity society. Ooh, like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think
Unicorns and rainbows and everything, and yeah.
I think your Center's friend would disagree with you on that. Love, Life, and Anarchy. He just put out a new video about Star Trek and post-scarcity and whatnot. and he seems to think it's I don't want to say feasible, but he would think that would be a great thing.
This is my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Utter idiocy.
You have a soundboard with you?
Yeah, I have like a whole thing of soundboards. I got a couple new soundboards from like this gaming podcast I was watching. This dude just went off, dude. There's some really funny ones.
Hey, Delta, play that soundboard of the Daily Show where they talked about, yeah, that's what they do with the Palestinians. They just cry rivers of fucking tears.
I have that. I got that. And I was like, I have to have this.
Hey guys, hey Delta, you might want to tone it down a bit because there's a chance you might get shut down because you think you know too much.
Oi, they! I don't care.
Shut it down.
Yeah, I have a message to you, JADF, out there. And all those, all those anti-Semitism watch, all those people, they find this. This is my message.
Tato, go fuck yourself, man. You stupid bastard.
Yeah, fuck off, NSA. Fuck off all internet security. We don't need you here.
Go away. This is our safe space. I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, that is actually a problem with rightist circles, is that they do tend to the main criticism I've heard from centrist people, whether they're center right, center left, libertarian, whatever, or apolitical, they'll always say like, "Are you alt right guys? You have those safe spaces just like leftists," and in the majority of cases, I would have to agree. I think they really do. Now, some cases it's because of shadow banning and policing of speech, like on Twitter, like on Facebook.
Or like Reddit with like the Power, whatever her freaking name was. It was like on Reddit and shit.
I don't know. I don't read Reddit, but what
I heard
was this
something on
about?
Reddit where it's like apparently like this new they had like a new like head of like CEO and like she was going around like shutting down a bunch of threads like about fat shaming and she was kind of like Mao Zedong. She was like Mao Zedong, just going and shutting stuff down and shit. That's what it was about.
Yeah, she was just like, I don't approve of this.
This is fascist. This is racist. This is fat shaming. Shut it down.
I'm just looking at page on about white power and Wikipedia, and then I've looked at about black power, and you see how the double standards are so clear in this case. It's so
I have to be careful with my new soundboards because I know that someone may try to sue me for like defamation of character or like or something dumb.
Oh, Danilo, aren't you in law?
I'm what?
Aren't you in law? Like, don't you go to law school?
Oh yeah. I'm studying law at University of São Paulo.
Well, my condolences.
I say Ethan is a great picture of what social democrat looks like. Where is it?
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, what else should we talk about?
What did I say, Censor? Come on, this is your show, man. This is your rodeo.
Well, I mean, I think I'm gonna have to end it right here because I'm gonna be going right now.
Oh
well,
shoot.
All right.
All I would say is thanks for having me on again.
Yeah. I missed the last one, so I tried to swing in this time.
Well, Danilo, Alan, it was nice talking to you, sirs.
Yeah, nice talk to you. Kater, by the way, I should try to guess where do you come from among the United States. I think it's about the north. Am I right?
You're kind of correct. I'm from Ohio.
There's a lot of people we know from Ohio.
Yeah.
Red Scare TV. That clown.
Yeah,
I'll have to check him out.
I've been in the United States once in 2013, and I've been in Michigan.